Welcome to the next edition of PM Current. I'm Wanda Curlee, your authority on anything that has to do with project, program, or portfolio management. If you have an event that's going on, please send me an email at wanda@pmpower.com. I am currently in the freezing frost belt of Philadelphia. As I mentioned last week, I'm at the Leadership Institute volunteer planning meeting. And I'm sitting in a hotel room right now. By the time you see this, I will be in sunny California and San Diego, so it'll be nice and warm there, and I'm looking forward to that because I am not a cold person, let me tell you that. So what's been going on at this Leadership Institute meeting? Most of it is confidential, but I found out some tidbits that I thought were kind of interesting. Did you know that the Project Management Institute is going to be 50 years old next year, which I found fascinating. They were started in 1969, so it will be very interesting to see what kind of events PMI plans to do to celebrate its 50th birthday, and I'm sure there's quite a bit. They also expect to expand quite a bit in membership. And again, most of the stuff that was talked about was confidential, but as it's released, I'll let you know. So let's get right back into what PMI has done this week. Well, they released let me check my notes, I can tell you exactly what it says. It's the Earning Power Project Management Salary Survey, and it's the 10th edition. It's not done every year. It's done every 2 to 5 years. And it's amazing how PMI sends out surveys, and you would think that you would gradually see the amount of people that they send the surveys to would go up, but that wasn't true. I looked at every country, and some of them went radically down in 1 year based of the previous year. This year was kind of a growth for each of the countries, but there were 37 countries, 33,000 respondents, which I thought was amazing. And I compared it to the jobs report that we discussed last week. And one of the things that I found very interesting was that while it wasn't specific in this salary survey, it did allude that hiring managers are looking for creative and innovative people. And remember, that came out clearly in the jobs report last week. So again, remember, be creative and be innovative in whatever you do in project management. So what are some of the specifics that I saw in there? Well, 82% with PMPs report a higher median salary. That's right, I said 82% of PMPs, no matter in what country you're in, had a higher median salary for the same job than those that did not have a PMP. The median salary matches what the jobs report says. So Switzerland is number one, and that's exactly what was in the jobs report. The US is number two, and then Australia is number three. Again, PMI has really done their homework to make sure that all of their reports that are coming out are based and sliced and diced in the same way. In all countries except China, which I think that's because it's controlled by the state, having a PMP, again, meant having a higher median salary. It wasn't entirely true because 82% reported it. So there were some that do not have a PMP that did report that they had a higher median salary. The survey is 381 pages. And let me tell you, PMI has sliced and diced the salaries in any way that you can think about it. They have 3 levels of project managers, and while it's defined in the survey and the questionnaire, because I did take the questionnaire myself, it defines each of the roles. I still wonder how much differences there are between the interpretation between one country and another country. For example, I know China might look at it completely different than those of us in the US. So that worries me about the different project managers' roles, because they do have 3, but they also have program manager, project directors, project leaders, and portfolio managers. So it's interesting to see that they're coming up to the portfolio manager as well. While we're staying on jobs, I want to shift our focus a little bit, and let me look at my notes here. And I wanted to look at jobs that are available and see if the trend that PMI is saying is matching what I'm seeing out there. So if you're looking for opportunities, I would highly recommend that you go to it's http://careerhq.pmi.org/. And there you'll find over 500 opportunities. Yeah, I said 500, and this is on PMI's job board, and you don't have to be a member of PMI to go and look at the job board. There's over 240 employers that are out there, and these are worldwide. They're not just in the US and Canada. There's items in Latin America, there's items in the Middle East, there's items in China. So make sure you go out there and look. But I did some slicing and dicing of it, and there's full-time, there were 295 jobs. Contract, there were 18. And there's others in between that as well. There were part-time jobs and other type contract to hire. But I thought it was amazing that 295 of those jobs were full-time. Entry level, there were 12. Experience, there were 186. So all the other jobs are somewhere in between there, or were tangentially in the PM role. There were some things that I kind of looked at and I thought, that's not project management, but maybe it's tangentially related to it. Construction management, again, I wanted to go to the job survey to see if it really matched. And construction management, which in the jobs report said was the number one hiring, there were 83 jobs there in construction. Now, I took the liberty of trying to interpret some of the taglines that they had on the career headquarters to make sure that it was construction. So if you went and did the same thing, you might come up with slightly different numbers. Healthcare, there were 22, and IT, there were 87. So yeah, 87 in IT and construction, 83. So if you're in either of those fields, there's a lot of jobs out there. So let's shift to Indeed. Indeed is quite a popular jobs board here in the United States and in Canada. I know other people look at it too. They do have jobs worldwide. I just did a search on project managers, and on Indeed, there's over 76,000 project management jobs. To me, that was incredible. I live in Philadelphia, and there were over 6,000 project manager jobs here in Philadelphia. I also went out to monster.com. I'm not a big fan of Monster because I don't really believe in a lot of these things. I think they're a fishing expedition by potential employers. But Monster had over 1,000 jobs, which I thought was kind of low, believe it or not. I also went to hireconstruction.com. It's again, ihireconstruction.com. And there were 6,520 jobs in the project management field. So again, if you're in construction, there's a specific one called iconstruction.com. And I thought that was very interesting. I just happened to stumble onto that one. Let's go to LinkedIn. That's a very popular one. Excuse me as I take a drink of water here. It's very dry in this hotel room. If you go out into LinkedIn and do a project management search, project manager, there were almost 200,000 jobs. Yeah, you heard me correctly, 200,000 jobs, and that's worldwide. I also did IT project manager, and there were over 19,000 jobs, almost 20,000 jobs. Are they all real? Again, take into account that some of them might be fishing expeditions, but I have applied to jobs on LinkedIn, and believe it or not, I do hear back from the hiring managers. I do recommend if there's an HR person that's on there or the hiring manager is on there, that you reach out to them with an in-mail, or if you are connected to them, of course, always network with them. For project director on LinkedIn, there were over 27,000. In the portfolio, I love to do portfolio management. So if you look on project portfolio or portfolio project, there's over 2,000 jobs. We're getting there, guys. Slowly, our different companies are understanding the value of portfolio management. Program, there were over 192,000 jobs, believe it or not. That to me is absolutely amazing. Let's shift gears a little bit, and those of us that are in project management, you normally start with looking at the PMBOK. Well, as I mentioned last week, the PMBOK 6th edition is out, and their PMI is struggling a little bit as to how much to include the Agile compendium with it. Excuse me, the Agile compendium into the PMP exam and how much not to. Stay tuned on that if I hear anything else. But there's the Agile certification, so you have to know that as well. But let me give you some highlights of what's happening on the PMBOK. And if you wanted to know some of that, you can go out to YouTube and look it up and just type in, go to YouTube and type in the search engine, what's new in the PMBOK 6th edition. And for me, the first thing that came up was a video from PMI. So go and look at it. It's got a lot of valuable information. So what did I glean from there? They actually, at the beginning of the PMBOK guide, they now describe the role of the project manager. There's always been a definition, but they didn't really explain the role. So I kudos to the team that came up with defining what the role of a project manager is, because that's always been nebulous in some ideas. Also, they have managed how you manage project management knowledge. That's a new area that they've added. They no longer call it time management. It's now schedule management, which, again, I kudos to the team, because you cannot, as they say in the video, and as I have always said, you don't manage time, you manage schedules. They also have switched a little bit in the quality of managing. They've told you now that project managers manage the quality on the project, but they may deal with the quality assurance of the corporation. So that those are two different things. So that is now distinguished in the PMBOK guide. Human resources is now project resources. I always wondered why they didn't bring in other resources, because we deal with a lot of different resources, not just human. If you're ordering stuff, that has to do with resources. So that has to be brought into your schedule as well, because it may define where you're going on your project. Project risk has a lot of changes according to the video, but one thing that I found very interesting is now they say that some of the risks must be escalated to either a program level, the portfolio, or a PMO. So make sure you look at the different areas of risk. Another area is project procurement. It's now more international. The flavor beforehand in the PMBOK has been more Western. So it's good to see that we're now understanding that the PMBOK is dealing with a global audience, and so that procurement has been brought into an international level. And then stakeholder management is no longer called stakeholder management, because think about it, I know I can't manage my stakeholders at any level, but you do engage with them, so it's now called stakeholder engagement. Again, it's a quick video, it's an interesting video, and it has a lot of meat in that video. So I highly recommend, if you're studying for the PMBOK exam, and it's going to be with the 6th edition, you go and look at that. Let's switch to keep in mind of what's going on in the project management world. Again, I am Wanda Curlee. I am on PM Currents, and if you have anything that's going on in your local chapter or anything of interest, what's going on in your project management world, please send me an email at wanda@pmpower.com. But let's keep in mind here, the PMP exam will be changing on 26 March of this year, and it will reflect the 2018, the PMBOK Guide 6th edition. So again, the PMP exam will be changing on 26 March 2018, and it will now reflect the 6th edition. The PMI ACP will be updated 26 March, and it will reflect the new Agile Practice Guide, the one that came out with the PMBOK. The CAPM exam, CAPM, is going through a pilot. They're kind of shifting gears on that, and I'm not sure of why PMI is doing that. But again, they're trying to understand what's the value of CAPM. So they're shifting gears on it, and there's going to be a pilot from 12 March to 20 May. So if you take it in that pilot period, you're not going to know if you have passed. You'll have to wait until they do the slicing and dicing of the data. And the new exam will be actually launched on 21 May. The PGMP exam will be updated and will align with the Standard of Program Management, which I worked on, the 4th edition, and it will be released on 25 June. So again, the PGMP exam will be new on 25 June. PMP 26 March, PMI ACP is 26 March as well. CAPM will be going through a pilot period from 12 March to 20 May, and the PGMP exam will be updated on 25 June. What are the events that are going on around the world? The EMEA Congress for PMI is going to be Early bird registration is going on right now. It's going to be in Berlin, Germany. If you pay by 14 February, you get a reduction in price of 355 euros. So if you're in the European area and really want to understand what's going on and with PMI and what might be going on for the 50th year, I highly recommend that you go to the Congress. What is going on in Seminars World? Well, there's a Seminars World happening in Scottsdale, and nice and warm there, unlike Philadelphia, from 12 to 15 February. Again, it's in Scottsdale, Arizona. There's a lot of good courses that are offered in Seminars World, so I highly recommend if you're looking at getting some education, either at a very advanced level or at a beginner's level, it's all there. Seminars World in Atlanta. Unfortunately, Atlanta's been struck by ice and snow again this week, just like Philadelphia was, but by March, it should be nice and warm. They are having a Seminars World in Atlanta from 12 to 15 March. And again, if you do an early bird registration, you will save some money, and that is done by 29 January. So that's just around the corner, so make sure that you sign up for getting early bird registrations. We talked about the opportunities, and let's say you're kind of wondering if you're a hiring manager or if you want to know if your buddy really has what certification he or she thinks they have. So you can go to https://www.pmi.org/certifications/registry. Now, I do want to emphasize this is voluntary. So if somebody doesn't want to have their name on there, PMI will remove it. But if you go in there, you can type a person's name and ask and put in there which certification that you want, that you think they have, and you can see it pop up. I know when I was a hiring manager, I always went out there to make sure that the certifications were current. I would love to hear from you, so please go out to www.pmcurrent.com and look at the tips and trends that we have going on out there. There's daily tips and weekly tips. You'll hear about what I've done here, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Remember, www.pmcurrents.com. I am Wanda Curlee, your project program and portfolio management expert and authority on all things. Thank you.